love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You see, we're on a mission from God.
Great Scott.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hasta la vista, baby. Go ahead. Make my day.
I'm Ricky Bobby. You don't chew Big Red, then you.
Welcome to this episode of the Movie Zealots podcast. I'm your host, Tom, joined alongside my fellow Zealots, Joe and Paul. How you guys doing for this episode?
Doing fabulous.
Wow, I'm almost as good as Paul, but not quite.
Wow. Well, I am sick again, believe it or not. It's like 2 times in the last 2 months or 3 months since I got back from California. Same type of cold. I don't know what is going on.
California destroyed your immune system.
It did. It really did, sadly enough. But I am still here, and we are ready to do an exciting first episode of October. So this episode, we are going to be talking about Abominable. Here we go. Abominable.
Maybe you should just not review this movie.
Abominable.
We're going to have a whole episode of him trying to pronounce it.
I know. I always want to say Abominable. Now I'm mixing the two up. So now I'm totally screwed up.
So a new podcast idea. Tom saying common words.
That would probably get more listeners. Well, we got that animated feature. We have 3 from Hell, Downton Abbey, and the feature presentation, which I'm the only one who's seen, so I'm not sure how it qualifies as a feature presentation, but Ad Astra. But before we do that, of course, like always, the first episode of every month, we have the Alexa quote of the show, so let's do it.
The Alexa quote of the show.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Currently, the score is, Joe, you have 10 points. Paul has 24. So, Joe, if Paul supersedes how many points that it would take for you to win, I'm calling it for the year. There's only 3 episodes left, which means, well, I don't know what that means.
Are you encouraging us to throw it?
Not at all. Not at all.
You're saying the odds of my comeback are getting smaller?
Yes, it's still possible. Technically, it could still be done, but it starts here. And I don't have high expectations for this one.
That's fantastic.
So, here we go.
In the face of overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm gonna have to science to shit out of this.
I'm going to have to science the shit out of this. Let me play this again.
Well,
In the
maybe you'll
face of
win.
overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm gonna have to science to shit out of this.
Yeah, this one is a little bit more... it's still a very popular movie.
I know this one,
Yeah.
but I don't know
This line is very specific. I mean, if this line was anything else, I probably wouldn't have picked it. But this is, like, if you saw this movie, you would know this line. In the least, if nothing else, you should know who said it, if you can't imagine what movie it's actually from. I would think. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong, but...
I've seen the movie. I just don't recall what it was, but I do have a guess.
Ah, good. Okay. All right. I expected you have nothing and Paul to get some points.
10 points. Yeah,
Yeah.
Paul's get 7 points just because he doesn't want to sweep it.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd throw it
the
on
last
purpose.
Yeah. he'll put the female lead as third instead of second.
No, he'll say, well, I know the year is 1983, but I'm going to guess 84 just so I don't get all 10 points. And those years are totally made up. Please don't use those as your years because I do not know.
Oh, I did. I know how often you slip up. So.
No, I intentionally made sure. Well, I don't want to say anything, so there you go. Hey, while the guys are writing down their answers, may I reach out to all our listeners to say, please tell a friend. Let's get our listenership up slightly. Let's get our numbers up. How about that? So if you like the show, please tell someone and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, all the places that you may listen to us. And when we get to From the Cutting Room Floor, I'll tell you a new place that you can listen. Or should I say, watch. Ooh, the suspense. Boy, everyone's still writing. This is...
So I just had an idea. So if we have the Movie Zealots t-shirt. So if they can recruit 3 listeners, you send them a t-shirt. And then if those 3 listeners recruit 3 listeners, we send them a hat. So we'll just turn this into a multi-level marketing scheme.
Yeah, but this costs me money. Wait, but I don't know.
They'll be required to sell the hats.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
They recruit 3 listeners, you become a distributor.
Yay! Yeah. Then you get a little piece of everything they sell. Oh yeah. Here we go. We got it.
I guess I'm gonna have to guess. I'm kind of going blank on this one.
Oh,
Okay.
very good, very good. I'll say. So, does that mean you're ready, Paul?
I'm as ready as I'm gonna be.
Joe, what say you?
Okay. I know I've seen it. I know I'm wrong, but I'm ready.
All right. So, neither of you are very confident in the least. So, let's start with Paul. What the heck?
All right. I'm gonna go with Avengers.
Okay.
2005.
All right.
Robert Downey Jr. Samuel L. Jackson's in everything, so making him second is, at least a stab in the dark, right? And Chris Evans.
All right. Very good. All right. Now, Joe, let's see. What do you have for the movie?
I went with Real Genius.
Okay.
What?
Year?
What is it?
1982.
All right.
With Val Kilmer as the lead, and I do not recall any of the co-stars.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter because you're both off tremendously. All right. This movie is The Martian.
Oh,
well, I haven't seen
Matt
that,
Damon.
so I heard it was terrible, so I didn't watch it.
Oh, no, that's good.
I have seen it, and
Yeah.
I guess it's not a movie you watch multiple times, so I don't think I.
So it's The Martian, year 2015. First build, Matt Damon, then Jessica Chastain, then Kristen Wiig. So,
Was that line in a trailer?
I'm not certain if it was in a trailer, but it's pretty popular in the movie.
I know I've heard the line.
Yeah, it might have been.
But I had never seen the movie, so that would be my not connection.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, okay. Well, I picked it because Ad Astra. So I was trying to find something that correlates with what we
Ad
had.
Astra.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, I had it as
Yeah,
one
but
of
neither
my...
of us saw that either. So.
Yes, perfect. That'll be my quote next time. All right, well, that was the Alexa quote of the show. You guys have not improved your scores whatsoever.
Was this our first 0-0?
Ever? I don't know. I'll have to look at the stats. That's a good question. I'll get back to you.
It might be the first total goose egg.
Yeah, it's
Paul
possible.
usually at least gets an actor.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen you guys accidentally get a year just out of random. All right, yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. In fact, let me write a note so that way I don't leave the listeners hanging. All right, now let's move right into From the Cutting Room Floor. All right, this week, or this episode, the first thing I want to talk about is, as of today, in fact, we're recording this October 6th, 2019. This is my final day that I am an AMC Stubbs A-list member. I canceled my membership. I'm going to
spend the entire day in the theater.
I'm not going, believe it or not, I am not even going to a movie today. I do not care to go see a movie. So I am done. So next episode also, I'm going to give, I'm a stats person. I keep track of all my stuff. So I'm going to write up all my stuff and give you guys some statistics about the 1 year that I was AMC Stubbs member and how many movies I saw and how much savings and blah, blah, blah. All that type of stuff.
Wow, that sounds very
boring. Paul's going to call out next episode.
Well, the episode after that, Paul, he's going to show us his jar of nail clippings.
Well, to hell with all of you. But I do have an interesting story about canceling my membership. So to cancel, you either have to send an email, which I don't trust that they're going to cancel my membership through an email, or you call them. So I called them, and I was talking to the operator, and at one point, she goes, okay, well, I understand you want to cancel your membership. Can you please tell me why you want to cancel? And I told her, because I'm moving over to the Regal Unlimited subscription. And she said, oof. And that was it. Nothing more. She didn't try to sell me on anything else. She just went, oof. And I was waiting for something, and it was like silence. Then she goes, all right, well, I'm done.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people are doing it.
I guess they understand that most cities only have one nice movie theater and then some crappy ones.
Yes. So, yeah. For you, AMC is a nice one.
Yes.
For me, it's the Regal. So, there you go. But yeah, she just went, oof. That was the end of that one. Now, also, because I'm planning on doing the Regal Unlimited, which I haven't joined yet, I will before I go to see my next movie, obviously. There's a Regal Unlimited Facebook group that I joined. And let me tell you something. These people are, okay, it's a small subset, mind you, but these people are out of their minds. And this is the reason why this Regal Unlimited may just bomb, because these people are going to see every movie. Like this one guy was like, "Well, I've never watched Downton Abbey. I know nothing about it, but I went to see the movie." And like, all these people are just doing crazy things. Like they're seeing every movie, and they have these lists. Like, all right, this month, this is all the movies I saw, and literally it's like 20 movies. It's like, holy cow, are you guys out of your minds? What are you doing? So there's some really extreme people, and their averages are like 82 cents a movie. They're keeping all these stats. Like, holy cow, that's
these are the people that kept buying all the extra perks in like Candy Crush and keep them in business.
They're called whales, actually.
Oh yeah, see, just like in casinos, all the whales. Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, sorry.
All right, next. Oh, Spider-Man has, I don't think we discussed this, returned to the MCU.
Yay!
No.
Well,
Oh, go
but
ahead.
it seems like it might just be give me 2 movies to move them as far away from the MCU as possible.
Possibly.
Right? I mean, that would be the smart thing for Sony to do, right?
You mean Disney?
No, I mean Sony.
Well, no, Sony would want to keep them as close to the MCU as possible.
Oh, I don't know. I think they want to disconnect them because they're not
want
playing
their
on
own money.
No.
And it's obvious that
if
Disney's
they can,
not
no,
Disney wants as much as they can. Is not going to let them just.
If Sony can put out a Spider-Man movie and allude to being in the MCU without saying it, that would be their best scenario. Because then they still wouldn't be paying Disney, and they'd still get the side effects of the Joe Common guy who doesn't know that he left. So they mention, oh yeah, I'm not with those guys anymore. You don't have to.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
I think they'd get more mileage keeping, like, eluding that they're still in rather than.
I'm not
totally...
accusing you of being, a secret agenda for Disney because you're a Disney fanboy. I'm just saying.
Not at all. Not at all.
That they really want Spider-Man because there's so many other things that attach to Spider-Man. It gives them a franchise to stay alive, right?
Yeah, and giving Disney money for nothing seems a little silly because I mean, what did
money for
Venom
nothing?
Make? It made a lot of money, like $800 million or something.
Yeah, but Sony's tried to make Spider-Man.
Disney for that.
Yeah,
Sony's tried to make Spider-Man unsuccessfully. So, I mean,
what?
Spider. Those other Spider-Man movies are crap. They knew it. Everybody
the first set of Spider-Man movies were excellent. I'm sorry. I mean,
no.
The third one.
Tobey
no.
Maguire
Like
is just
first
awful.
1 and 2 with Maguire.
No, Maguire was the worst Spider-Man.
Those were crazy popular.
Well, look at their box office numbers. They made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is free
They're crap,
money.
though. They're crap. All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Much bigger superhero than Iron Man ever was.
All you need to know
true.
is the MCU. Spider-Man's back for at least one more movie, and the new deal has Disney.
I'm just saying that I never had Iron Man curtains in my bedroom. Just saying.
Wow.
Right? I mean, who are
That's
the
a small
MCU heroes? They're all nobodies, right? You got Iron Man. The Hulk was the only one that was ever popular, and that was just because Lou Ferrigno ran around.
And it wasn't theirs originally, right? They were Universal, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, let me finish my story here.
We're just shooting you down.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sure that you know that.
So the new deal has Disney Marvel will co-finance 25% of the film and will take 25% of the profits, which they never officially reported what the original deal was, but it's known to be that they get 5% of the profits. So there you go. But it sounds like a win-win for everybody. So I'm very excited to have Spidey back in the MCU, at least for one more round. And there's a bunch of stories that came out just this week that Tom Holland had a huge influence as to them striking a deal. So I don't know if he reached out. He reached out to Feige and Sony and got him to negotiate and make a deal. So fantastic. Also, I saw season 6 of The 100. Do either of you guys ever watch any of the seasons for 100?
No.
It started off really good. It's like a sci-fi show, and then it just like jumped a shark by season 4. And for whatever reason, I keep watching it. It's just so bad. But now
really?
I gotta watch it. And once I start watching it, I'm totally hooked. I saw it was out on Netflix. I'm like, oh man, let me just catch an episode. So I watched episode 1. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm going for this ride. So I was sick. I missed work on Thursday because of this cold. And I literally watched like 11 episodes of it in one day. I just laid on the couch and watched it. So it's a guilty pleasure, kind of like how Once Upon a Time. You remember that's the ABC show about the Disney princesses?
Yeah.
That was really good, and then it kind of failed. It did. Yeah. And I actually stopped watching that. I think I'm only like one or maybe two seasons from watching the complete series, and I just stopped. I was like, I'm done. But there you go. The 100. You can see season 6. Actually, you can see all the seasons on Netflix right now, if you would so choose. Like I said, it's weird.
I did also see Yesterday this week.
That's confusing. Yes. How was it?
It was good. I mean, it was all right. If you like Beatles music, and who doesn't like Beatles music?
Yeah,
right?
I did get a copy of that.
Hey, who are the Beatles?
And I just haven't watched it yet. Well, I
Who are
think
the Beatles?
Paul
What?
McCartney, like before Wings, I think Paul McCartney was in that band.
Oh, and have you ever seen Caveman? It's that guy, the guy from Caveman.
Caveman.
He's in it.
You mean that stupid comedy?
That was such a great movie. I want to watch that movie again.
Oh my god. You guys.
Lana.
Oh my god, that is the greatest movie.
Oh, sorry.
What's Caveman? You're not talking about that stupid.
Ringo Starr.
Oh no, okay, nope.
Oh, you've never seen Ringo? And who was it? It was the Diane from Cheers. What was her name?
I know that. Abby. Well, shoot.
Shelley
Long. Yep.
Shelley Long. Yes, it's Shelley Long and Ringo. Oh,
are you kidding me? Wow.
Was it Shelley Long? I seem to
Yes,
remember
it was.
Shelley
Yeah,
Long.
it was
Yeah.
Shelley Long.
I've never heard of that movie.
Oh, you need to see it. Is the funniest thing. Oh my god, it is wonderful.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah, and there's not a single English word in it. It's good.
All right, wow, that's crazy. Hey, also,
it has a song from the same song that the Ewoks sing, which I always think so weird. That you know that whole at the end of the Return of the Jedi, they'd have that doop a doop a doop ba ba. They sing that exact same song in Caveman. You're like, what?
Okay, you guys. All right, well, that sounds like a wonderful movie.
Suck.
Oh wow. Also, the podcast distributor that I use recently did an update, and now we can. They will also release the podcast on YouTube. So I already had a Movie Zealots podcast YouTube channel, and I was manually uploading the audio clips on, and I just got rid of it because I got tired of messing with it. And I deleted all the old episodes. However, starting last episode, you can go back to the Movie Zealots podcast, search on it on YouTube, and you can find every episode I released from last episode on now. I'll also have this podcast provider release in audio. So it has like a little interface thing, like at the front that has like little wavies, but it's just the audio version on YouTube. So you can check it out. So anyone who's listening to this on the YouTube, hola. And, subscribe. And I think we have 1 subscriber and 3 views on the last episode that I released. So we're moving along.
Yeah, you never even told us. So
yeah, well, it's a surprise. See that? Yay! Let's celebrate. All right, so that's all I have for from the cutting room floor. What do you guys have?
I'm power watching. I'm getting through the Magicians.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Saw season 1. I've watched this week. I watched season 2 and half of season 3. Thus the complete lack of movies I've seen.
Understandable. Yeah, I think there's 4 seasons out total, but only 3 are currently on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I might have to go hunt for a different source for season 4 soon.
Indeed. Yeah, that's a very good show. So I haven't seen season 4 either yet, so I was just waiting to see if it'd show up at some point, which it will, but patience is a virtue.
Well, American Horror Story. The previous season finally showed up on Netflix, so I think that'll be next for me.
Yeah, I gotta watch that too.
How many seasons are there now? 8?
Well, I don't know.
I think they're on 9 now.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's one going on right now, right?
Yes, I think it's 9.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so check that out if you want. Luckily for, well, I guess the American Horror Story that just was released, it does tie into 2 other seasons. Typically they're standalone, but yeah, this one kind of does tie back. You probably could watch it without seeing the other 2, but it'd probably be helpful to see the other 2 seasons that this one refers to. So other than that, check it out. All right, got anything else?
Nope.
Paul?
Nope.
No, not really.
All right, let's get right into the reviews. The first movie, of course, is Abominable. Is that right? Abominable.
Oh my gosh! You did it right.
One time. Wow.
I'm not going to say it again. This movie was released September 27th, 2019. Rated PG. Runtime 1 hour 37 minutes. Starring Chloe Bennet, Albert Tsai, Tenzing Norgay Trainor, and Eddie Izzard. So I was glad to see Eddie Izzard get some love. I like him. Description. A magical Yeti must return to his family. Very brief description. IMDb, 7.3 out of 10, while Rotten Tomatoes gives it 81% for the critics, and the audience gives it 96. Box office. Budget is about $75 million. Worldwide gross, I do not actually have. They didn't have it when I originally did these notes, and I did not go back. Again, I apologize to our devout listeners, but I have no notes on the gross of that movie. Notes for this movie. By some peculiar coincidence, this is the third theatrical released animated film in under a year to be centered on Yeti or their distant cousin Bigfoot. The 2 other are Warner Animated Group's Smallfoot in 2018 and Lakia's Missing Link 2019, the prior of which was released in 2019 and the former of which involves Yetis. So, yeah, like you said before, Joe, there's a lot of Yeti-type animated movies out there.
Yeah, there's that one studio here's, they're doing a Yeti movie. Oh, everybody hop on board.
Yeah, let's do it. Now, I will say for this review, I have not seen the other 2 Yeti movies, so only this one. Here are my thoughts. So, there was a Pixar short movie, or a film, or Pixar short, I guess you'd call it, called Boa, B-A-O, and it's about a Chinese lady who raises this little dumpling, and at the end, it turns out this dumpling is actually her son. It's a cute little short. As soon as this movie started, there was a Chinese lady who's making dumplings, and I thought for sure it was the same. To me, it was like identical to that short. So I thought the same lady was working on this as that. But then when I looked it up later, the lady's completely the grandmother looks completely different than this one. But it was, I guess those dumplings.
Saying all Asian ladies look the same?
In cartoon form, yes. But also, this is an interesting little fact. Joseph Izzo is billed 4th. And he's the voice of Everest, who is the Yeti. Now, the Yeti doesn't talk in this movie. He just goes, he just makes some random noises every once in a while. And Eddie Izzard is billed 5th, who is the, he's billed as the antagonist, old white guy who's trying to find the Yeti, and, he's the bad guy. How in the heck is Eddie Izzard, who has a decent part in the movie, billed after a guy who doesn't even talk in the movie? Like, he literally makes a couple of grunt noises. He could probably make 3 noises, and they could just loop through those 3 noises the entire movie. It's crazy to me that a guy who doesn't have any real... I mean, you don't even need
odd
it.
that they even bothered hiring a guy to grunt.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, they could have anybody do that. They could just make weird... Yeah, very strange.
You just do that on a keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. Very strange. And they build over Eddie Izzard. I can also say in this movie, the Me Too movement is dead once again. Because the old antagonist, Eddie Izzard, the white guy who wants to go track down this bad Yeti and show that, he's not lying to the community that they exist. Turns out he's not the bad guy. It's this other, attractive in air quotes because it's a cartoon. So how would you measure how attractive a female is? This attractive female, younger female, who turns out to be the bad guy, who's at first pictured as a scientist who wants to save the Yeti, and they do a little switcheroo, and she's the bad person in the movie. So she turns out to be the antagonist. How do you like that? I like that. I was very happy to see a little plot twist there because it's an animated movie. Nobody, the kids don't care what happens. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like,
Tom, who's always rooting for the bad guy
yeah,
that is committing genocide, is now happy that we have a woman villain.
Yeah, yay!
And declared Me Too dead on the podcast.
Well, here's the thing: is it dead or is this an enhancement of?
Bitches get what they deserve now.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, does this mean Me Too's dead, or does it mean Me Too has graduated to the point where now the character, the females can not only be the good guys, but now they've come full circle, and now they can be the bad guys? Like, is it enhancement?
Have a lot more substance, right? She
Yeah.
has an actual story and an arc, and
So maybe it's not dead. Maybe this is even better. Who knows?
You know, going back to the voice, the ranking of the stars, I had to look because I just out of curiosity. Do you know Vin Diesel is billed as 4th on Guardians of the Galaxy, and that Bradley Cooper is 5th? It seems like the exact same kind of crap, right?
Are you serious?
Isn't that crazy? Yes.
At least he says Groot. I am Groot.
I am Groot. Yeah. Anyway,
Holy
sorry.
cow, Bradley Cooper?
It seemed appropriate because again, 4 and 5 doesn't seem right. But go ahead.
Oh, well, Bradley Cooper's also a voice, though.
Yes, but don't you think the raccoons?
Well, yeah, he has a lot more words. Yeah.
Then
I forgot Vin Diesel was even part of the thing.
Yeah, it's weird they hired.
Groot isn't even a thing. I mean, to be fair though, if you look at the roles and you write down everything that any of them said, Vin Diesel's using a greater percentage of his vocabulary than Bradley Cooper.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Sorry. That was really off. Sorry, that was off the. I just had to think of something that was.
He's coming for you. Him and all his furious.
I'll meet him at the spelling bee.
Fast and Furious friends are gonna kick your butt. Wow. Jeez. But anyway, this movie, I really enjoyed this. I had no expectations going in. My youngest son wanted to see it, and my membership was expiring. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's go see it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had some heartful moments, and I walked out very, very. And let me tell you something. Of all the movies I've seen recently, this is the only one that I walked out like feeling good about. Because everything else I've watched are very disturbing, very weird movies. So I say this is a first run for me. This is a very good.
Wow.
This movie is very well done. Like I said, it's very, very well done.
It's not Disney either. So
no, it's not Disney.
Wow, that's crazy.
What happened?
Yeah.
Well, Tom's writing a letter to Disney having them buy the franchise.
Oh yeah. Disney's gonna buy him. Yeah. So there you go. Wait to see him in the parks. Woo! 3 from Hell is the next movie. Joe, you and I both saw this one. It was released. Well, it's not really released. It was through Phantom Events. So September 2019, sometime in that range, it was quote unquote released. Rated R, runtime 1 hour 51 minutes, starring Sharon Moon Zombie, Sid Haig, and Bill Moseley. Description. Okay, here's this. You thought the last description was short? Here's this one. Sequel to The Devil's Rejects. That's a description. That's a lot.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Woo. IMDb gives it a 6.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes critics give it a 41%, while the audience gives it an 80%. Box office budget is $3 million. Worldwide gross, $1.8 million. Notes. Director Rob Zombie revealed in an interview that his original script featured a much larger role for Captain Spaulding, played by actor Sid Haig. However, upon receiving word that Haig was in the hospital recovering from surgery, Zombie visited him in the rehabilitation facility and was alarmed by the drastic changes in his physique, most notably that he had lost a significant amount of weight. Zombie realized that Haig's health was in serious question. He was forced to reconsider Captain Spaulding's prominence in the story while keeping Haig in the film because Lionsgate was going to cancel the film if Haig was not in it. That's pretty amazing, right?
Wow.
Yeah. After numerous rewrites, Zombie introduced the character Foxy Coltrane, played by frequent collaborator Richard Brake, as a way of filling in the third Firefly family member without necessarily replacing Captain Spaulding altogether. Ironically, Zombie did not speak to Haig after his shooting day up to his death. Sadly, actor Sid Haig, who played Captain Spaulding, died only 5 days after this film was released theatrically. All right, so those are all my notes about this movie.
Yeah, Sid Haig looked really bad.
Yeah. It was very uncomfortable to watch the beginning of that movie because even in the movie they're like, oh, he's not much. He's looking bad. He's not. He's he's on his death. Like,
he just
just died.
And you're watching him look like he looks like he's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, it's.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's just that's something.
And to say a Rob Zombie movie is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be, but not in this one.
All right, let me give you some of my thoughts about this movie. So I don't remember anything about the Devil's Rejects. So I rewatched Devil's Rejects. Then I saw this movie back to back, essentially, within the hour of watching Devil's Rejects. I went right into this and watched this. So it was very fresh in my mind, and it is insane how they brought these characters back to life. I mean, okay, I can get on board with anything. In fact, I can get on board with this. Except the only thing I is so hard to believe is that the police, these guys are coming at the end of Devil's Rejects. They're driving into a wall of gunfire by police. Even if they missed every artery, every organ in their body, there was no way they would let them live, right? There's no way the greatest mass murderers in history, they're lying
this
there.
This ambulance is going to be slow rolling.
Oh, that sucker's going to get,
right?
yeah, that sucker stopping and eating lunch before it gets to that. There's no way.
Pulls him over and writes a ticket to the ambulance driver.
Even if it happened, they would bleed out. There was no way the cops would ever let them pull through. Because, I mean, honestly, the tax of their life support plus put them on trial for what? I mean, they're going to die. They
bring him back to life just
to kill him. Yeah, essentially what they did with Captain Spaulding, which was a weird scene too. That he went peacefully and he said, I mean, I don't know if that was all done before he died, so they didn't. I guess they knew he was going to die, but they kind of gave him like a gracious out, like he didn't like curse at the world before being put to death. Oh, spoiler, yeah. Oh, I guess we don't have to say spoiler anymore. But yeah, that to me was like, well, there's no way they'd ever. I mean, if they could explain that, they at the end of the movie, they were right next to a hospital, like that scene happens right outside of a hospital. Maybe then they could possibly have been brought back to life. Other than that, there's no way those cops would never let them live.
Bullet riddled people.
Yeah, they would let them bleed out, if not put a bullet in their head once they stopped the car. I mean, come on. But with that aside, it was Devil's Rejects all over again. I mean, it's the same movie. So if you like Devil's Rejects, you're going to like this. The only thing I didn't like about this movie, and you're going to call me an old man, and maybe because I'm a father now, I didn't like that they were making these characters into these anti-heroes now. Like, at least the Devil's Rejects, like if a young, impressionable person, let's face it, the youth of our nation now are so stupid. They could watch these movies and totally get on board and think that they're going to become one of these characters and go out and do this stuff.
Wow, you really do sound like an old man. Sorry.
I do. I know.
I'm pretty convinced that we were equally stupid at that age.
No. Well, the problem was no, we weren't.
I'm pretty
Yes,
sure.
no.
And the thing is, we were equally stupid. The problem is everyone bitching about kids these days. This is my favorite part of it. It's because they're the ones who raised them.
Yeah, well, the kids aren't so narcissistic.
I did such a
now.
terrible job raising you that you're awful.
Everyone gets a participation trophy. Everyone feels like they're slighted by society. No one takes blame on themselves.
Oh, God, here we go.
And this is what happens. Back in the day, if you were depressed and you wanted to die, you killed yourself and only you. But now, other people are to blame. I'm getting my revenge before I die.
The suicide rate's lower. This society is terrible.
Back in Columbine days? Is that where we're going? Is that?
I'm just saying this movie popularizes being a serial killer, and I'm not a fan of that at all. Yeah,
this is so weird. Do you also stop video games?
No. I'm not saying stop it. I'm just saying I see where this is going, and I know our kids are too stupid. They'll look at this like, oh yeah, let's do this. Let's go shoot up a school.
I just don't think people change much. I think over time.
No, they are.
People
They're
are
dumb.
pretty much the same.
No, kids now are just awful.
So.
Kids are stupid.
People say
kids are stupid. That's true. All
kids
are stupid.
Kids
Because
no longer.
If you're under 25, you're an idiot.
Kids can no longer. They have not been trained to take failure and criticism. They've been coddled to the degree that when the first time they see it,
God.
It's just they're out of control. They don't know they don't know how to cope. They have no coping.
Oh shit, Tom, you're turning into Clint Eastwood.
Damn sons of bitches. I'm just saying
I'm gonna
the Devil's.
See you do a presidential debate with an empty chair next.
The Devil's Rejects. The Devil's Rejects, at the end of that movie, they get shot up and they get killed. So that's a positive message. Hey, you're a nut job. Great. This is what's going to happen to you. This movie, and let's face it, they gave what's-his-face a ton of lines to be a cool character. I mean, the whole movie, he's saying, like, I'm the devil. I'm coming for you. All this stuff. They hype these characters up. And at the end, they literally walk into the sunset after killing multitudes of people. And they're glorified. And,
I don't know who you are anymore, Tom.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
I don't know who you are.
Ridiculous. At least Universal.
That was really weird.
Every word you say disappoints me a little, Tom.
Universal, that movie they're going to release, and they stopped it because they're like, oh boy, they have some. I don't agree with that either. I don't know. I just know our youth are just stupid, and they're gonna look at this and be like, oh yeah, I want to be that guy, and they're gonna go out and do the same thing.
Wow.
So someone's gonna watch this movie and decide, hey, I should be a serial killer.
No, they're gonna think they're cool, and then the first time they get their girlfriend breaks up with them, forget it. Like, hey, I'm gonna be that guy because he's cool. Let's go kill that lady that didn't want to be with me, and let's get it done. Yep.
That is the weirdest thing you've ever said.
And I say a lot of weird things.
I'm worried about next week that this is going to come up again, probably. Our next episode.
I mean,
right?
I was on board with Bloodshot being the good guy, but man, this is you.
Hey, they totally made these characters into like they're serial killers, and he's totally prophesized them into being these great characters. I'm not a fan.
We're gonna have this conversation
this movie would have been perfect. Well, not perfect. If they would have ended up, let's say, 'cause obviously Rob Zombie wants to bring these characters back multiple times. I mean, he's built a franchise on these characters, so they can't die. But I'd sooner, at the end of this movie, have that Mexican cartel bury him alive or something, where the next movie, like maybe that midget guy doesn't die, and he digs them up at the beginning of the next movie, and they live. Yeah, you can still have them pay the price of being terrible people and keep them coming back. In fact, the more unrealistically they keep coming back, the better it is, because at least no one watches Friday the 13th movie and thinks, oh, I want to be Jason. The more, let's face it, this movie started off as unrealistic as it possibly could, because there's no way they'd ever live through that, even if they did.
Well, so
but
like
I'm saying,
arguing with yourself now.
Well, no, but there's nothing in this movie that says they're anything special. They're just humans this entire movie. Like, there's no supernatural. I mean, they luckily somehow all three of them lived through that bullet spray, but they're very much human, and
yeah, they just
there's
have shitty
bad
good luck.
people. Yeah. And they keep getting out of these incredible situations where they should die. Like, how are they getting out of this one? And somehow they keep doing it. I don't. But it's very weird. I don't know. I think the ending of this movie would be much better served if they end up, quote unquote, dying. If the scene had them getting horrifically something happening to them, but you could also spin it where they could come back the next movie, and that could be the thing for this series where. At the end of every movie, they're going to get something is going to happen where they're going to quote unquote die, but there's going to be some crazy effects the next movie where they come back. I don't know. This one, they literally say, hey, we're killers. We're killing everybody. At the end of the movie, like, hey, look at us. All right, let's go. Let's go walk into the sunset. And they walk out happy as if they're the good guys. I don't know. Not a fan of how that turned out.
You're probably pretty disgusted with Dusk Till Dawn, too, huh?
No, I like that. Well, the thing about the thing about From Dusk Till Dawn is I had no idea that was a vampire movie when I was watching it. So when it switched,
but he's a serial killer, right?
But when it switched from being this like a gangster movie to a vampire movie, I was like, holy cow, what in the world is going on? Like, that alone was enough for me to say, all right, I can disregard everything else. And plus, they had Selma Hayek dancing on a table. Right. Come on, that scene was fantastic.
Okay. Right.
So Tom needs well, this movie had breasts too, Tom. So
yeah. Well, he really did a good job of not sexualizing the female form. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of naked women that at no point were you like, oh, okay, because she's like in blood and like walking like you're getting ready to die. Like, yeah, he showed nudity in a way that. It wasn't, it wasn't like, oh yeah, here we go. It was like, oh, well, what's going on?
or that naked lady that tried to seduce the cartel and he just shot her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Yeah, he did a good job in that respect, not being sexist, I guess.
Not being sexist. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't like the direction this series is going in general. But with that said, it was a good movie. Like I said, if you like the Devil's Rejects, you're gonna like this. It's really just a continuation of. They could have just merged these two movies together and made it one long movie. And I'm sure that's how the series will continue, where it's just going to keep going and going and going. And at some point, it's going to get ridiculous that they keep going through all these adventures. Kind of like the 100. I'll circle back around to the 100.
Boy, here we go.
It is amazing. If you like, from the 6 seasons, the amount of stuff that happened to these people is unheard of. Like, they went down to Earth, they fought for Earth. Earth got destroyed. They went to another solar system. It's just like, holy cow. It's almost unreal, the amount of stuff that's happening. And this same thing's going to happen in this series where it's just going to be continuation to like, wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm afraid the same thing's going to happen to the Magicians. Season 3, they've gone through quite the quite the series of events.
Yeah. Well, you have to almost. And like the Magician, can't really. Well, there's only 3 seasons, so go through 6. If that's over and over and over, like, oof, this is getting a little much.
Yeah, that's something. They keep making it, so.
Yeah, well. Yeah, but I guess those are my thoughts. I give this a solid second run after all that's being said. Well, yeah, second run. I give it a second run because, like I said.
Think of the children.
It's that was just my own personal. I don't like the direction the movie's going. However, I did enjoy the movie. It was a good movie. If you enjoyed Devil's Rejects, I thought anyway. I mean, it's much the same. I'm sad that Captain Spaulding wasn't in it. They did a good job replacing him with somebody else. I thought it was pretty good way they did that. I mean, obviously, all the events, it's just ridiculous what they do. But I think that's part of the charm of this movie franchise. But Joe, what say you?
Well, I like it a lot more than you, or I don't think that it is the prelude to America dissolving.
No,
that you do. And honestly, the participation trophy really doesn't bother me that much. But
it does me.
So yeah, I don't mind participation trophies, and I don't mind that the bad guys are the concept of an anti-hero doesn't really bother me. I guess the whole thing doesn't bother me so much because him, the whole Dr. Satan stuff. I don't have any supernatural leanings anyway, so all of that kind of falls on deaf ears with me. So whatever. Satan is a random boogeyman. He could have called himself Charles Manson. It would have had the same effect. It's just.
Well, that character they introduced was very Charles Manson-like. I mean, I felt like they were they created that character around Charles Manson. I mean, he looked very much the part.
Yeah, but I mean, as they go through and the whole, so I don't buy off on the whole supernatural aspect of it, or so, whatever. I mean, I like this I actually like this better, that these are villains that just barely survive instead of magically coming back, because that just, someone could barely survive a shooting. People have survived getting shot 20 times. I mean, yeah, granted, it's, one in how many?
50 cents, right?
Have all 3 of them live, right? I mean, it's ridiculous odds, but theoretically possible, as opposed to, oh, hey, this guy's been caught on fire and drowned 17 times and he keeps coming back.
Yeah.
I would rather have a living actual person, because I think it makes a movie a little scarier to know that it's something that could happen. Getting
shot 20 times and living is possible. However, in the circumstances that they did, it is not.
Oh yeah, exactly. However,
there's no way, like I said, this cops would ever
could have happened, as opposed to all the supernatural stuff, right?
Yeah.
There could have been that one cop that said, no, call the ambulance.
Yeah. He's an EMT, and he personally saved all 3.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it theoretically could happen and they could live, as opposed to, oh, I'm this magical being that exists, because I just don't,
Well, the problem with that is, though, yeah, if you start introducing that often enough, it's going to play out. Like, it's not going to, you have these moments keep happening to the same people. It's just like, you need some, if it's supernatural, then at least you have a reason to go along with the story. If it just keeps happening to the same people with no explanation other than, oh, these people are just really lucky. That's like, that's just so stupid. That's unrealistic.
Well, I think, but I mean, this was started off as a horror franchise, and horror based on something that could happen is much scarier than horror based on, oh my God, this, this disaffected nun from the 14th century's ghost is going to come back and attack you. I mean, it just means nothing to me, where like a movie like The Strangers, man, that was scary as shit because they could do that.
Yes.
So I like that this franchise does that instead of they just instead of taking the easy way out of saying, oh, he's the devil.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that.
So I liked it. I liked the movie probably better than you. I gave it a lower rating, which is odd. I say stream it.
Ah, interesting.
It's one of those movies. It's not. I would have a hard time wanting to go to a theater for this type of movie.
Very interesting.
Because it's not really a horror movie. It's not really an action movie. It's its own thing.
Yes.
And I like it, but I'm not really up for it to go out and see it. It's one I'd rather catch in my living room.
Yeah. All right. Very, very interesting. All right. So let's move on to Downton Abbey. Paul, tell us your thoughts.
Downton.
We're excited to hear about this.
Now, this is what's wrong with America right here.
This is what's going to drive the kids insane.
It's a festering. Yeah, well, people are going to think they should be British nobility or something. Okay.
Now they're going to be walking around drinking tea. Pip Cheerio.
Oh. Kids these days just don't realize that they're not nobility. Okay. So, Downton Abbey, the continuing story of the Crowley family, wealthy owners of the largest estate in the English countryside in the early 20th century. Directed by Michael Engler and written by Julian Fowles, starring Tuppence Middleton, Michelle Dockery, and Maggie Smith, among others. Rotten Tomatoes have a... Sorry. We're going to cut this out, right?
He's leaving it in to show everybody how hard his job is.
Look, see this?
Rotten Tomatoes at 85%.
You get no participation trophy here.
85% critic score, 94% audience score.
Wow.
So,
I think Tom's going to take a few of your stutters and sprinkle them back.
What other notes? Let's see. The royal visit of George V to Downton Abbey was based on the real-life visit of Wentworth to Wentworth Woodhouse, a mansion in Yorkshire, which was used for the film for the ballroom scenes at Harewood House. And that's my only notes I have on it.
All right.
If you're a fan of the series, it very much feels like one season of the series put together into a movie.
2-hour movie.
Which, I mean, some people would expect the movie to be a little bit, more, there's something more dramatic to happen. And I don't feel like that it does, but it does give you exactly as advertised. It's a good episode, a good season of the series put on film.
So, Paul, is the series is it still going on? Like they're still releasing new seasons?
No, it ended a few years ago. So.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of
it's like giving you another. Yeah.
It's kind of like the new Breaking Bad movie. Like the series is over, and now they're going to give you a little taste of something. Okay.
Well, does the movie wrap anything up, Paul, or is it just?
It did give significant others to people that had been, largely, or love interest to people that needed it. Right? I'm not sure you say needed it, but you know what I mean. There were characters that were single, heaven forbid, at the end of
that's a disgrace. Wow.
And it gives love interest to most particularly Mr. Burroughs, the gay guy, and Mr. Bronson, who was a widower or whatever from the season. They both get love interest. Maggie Smith, of course, she's great in it. She's one of the best parts of the series, and she's joined by Imelda Stanton. So it's a little weird in that I feel like Game of Thrones and Harry Potter have introduced us to all the British actors, and so suddenly you know who everyone is. But Imelda Staunton was the bad teacher at Hogwarts, so it's a little weird to have them because they're literally there's conflict between the two of them that's in the movie. It's kind of like, wow, this seems familiar. But yeah, I enjoyed it. If you like the series, you're gonna get more of that. Nothing seemed too out of place. At the end, there is a revelation that does seem a little out of place, and that you're like, okay, kind of weird to just say this and then not really have anything happen with it, unless you're setting up for the
sequel.
next movie, right?
Yeah. So you think the way the movie was laid out, that it's set up for a sequel? Like they want to continue this through movie form, maybe? If this
The
succeeded?
possibility is there, I think.
Now, did the series end in a way, because I didn't watch it, did it end in a way that kind of necessitated a movie because it was canceled?
Not really.
And... No?
Honestly, not really.
So it ended.
can't
They
really say
knew.
that.
They knew it was ending, so they made a conclusion.
Yeah, they did, and it was good. I mean, I have to say, stream it. I don't think that, it's just not. There's nothing bigger about it. It's a TV show. It does that well, but it doesn't feel like a movie. Like, oh, this should be a movie. This is just,
Yeah.
a different. Usually, there's a different feel between a movie and a TV series, and then you don't really get that in this. This is just like another episode of the TV show, except the king and queen visit, and that's supposed to be what's bigger about it, but not really. No. Okay.
Well, there you go. That was Downton Abbey, a stream. Wow. All right, let's move right into our feature presentation.
And now our feature presentation.
This week's feature presentation is Ad Astra. Tagline: the answers we seek are just outside our reach. Released September 20th, 2019. Director James Gray. You may know him from The Lost City of Z and The Immigrant. I don't, but maybe you do. Rating PG-13, runtime 2 hours, 9 minutes, starring Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, and Ruth Negga. Description: Astronaut Roy McBride undertakes a mission across an unforgiving solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and his doomed expedition that now, 30 years later, threatens the universe. IMDb gives it a 7 out of 10. The Rotten Tomatoes critics give it 83%, while the audience gives it a 40%. Box office budget, $87 million. Opening weekend, $19 million. Gross in the U.S. was $38 million, and worldwide gross is $93 million. Notes: the title means "to the stars" in Latin. It is often used as a shorthand for "per aspera ad astra," which is "through the hardships to the stars." That's all the notes I have for this movie. I'm the only one who saw this movie, so let me give you my thoughts. I know, Joe, you said you may be interested in seeing this week.
I've been excited to see it, but I'm just looking at you and thinking about changing my evening plans.
I honestly don't know how not to spoil this movie in this review.
Go ahead and spoil.
Okay, because there's no way that...
Because if this is going to turn out to be a negative review, I'll just skip.
Well,
I'll just watch it knowing it's going to stink.
And just looking at the trailer, you expect there's some big twist that you don't see. I mean, I'm just guessing, right? That there's some sci-fi twist here. That
only if.
There's some Shyamalanian twist.
Only if. No, the problem is nothing happens in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Okay, let me go with what I like about this movie first. The outer space scenes were done as if you would actually be watching them in outer space. Like there is a void of noise. There's not much action in this movie. In fact, there's very little action in this 2-hour movie. But the 1 or 2 sequences that they do have action going on, that it's in space, it's almost like watching the movie before they add the sound effects to the movie. Like you're watching these vehicles and crashes and explosions and you're hearing nothing because you're in space. And I really I really like that they did it that way, because it was really, it mitigated. It's really strange to watch a movie where things are happening and you're not getting all the noise, and it was really weird.
So there's no Star Wars laser sounds.
No, it's very well done in that respect. Now, unfortunately, of the 2 hours, you may have maybe 15 minutes of that in the entire 2 hours, but those 15 minutes are very enjoyable because it's very. I like the contrast of all this happening out in space and you don't hear anything. So that was really, really, really well done. That's the only thing good about this movie. It's a 2-hour therapy session for Brad Pitt's character as to dealing with his dad and his thoughts. So what happened was his dad's an astronaut. He goes off on this mission 30 years ago, leaves his mother and him behind. So he follows behind, and now he's an astronaut. And now Tommy Lee Jones, which is his dad, he's out. He's been gone, and some flares and stuff are happening on Earth. And they're afraid it's going to escalate and just basically end life as we know it. And they think it's from Tommy Lee Jones's expedition. So they send Brad Pitt out to Mars to send a message to Tommy Lee Jones to communicate in some way. And then they basically want to send out, if they can't control them, they send a nuclear spaceship out there to blow them up. This movie is very slow. I mean, it's all with a lot of voiceover of Brad Pitt, just like, I was sad as a child. You know, like very slow, like dreary, and nothing. Like I said, although like he goes to the moon, and then he goes to Mars, and he hops onto the spaceship with the nuclear bomb to go out to his dad out in Neptune or whatever. But nothing happens. Like there's one scene on the moon where he's going from the moon to we colonize the moon. So there's like the city, but then the launch where he has to go is across the moon where it's like a no man's land where there's pirates out there. So the one really cool scene on the moon where the pirates are trying to basically stop him, and all the action actually happened. You have that one cool scene, but everything else is just watching him just go through, like as if you're watching like if I watched your normal day life, like you get up, you shower, you go to work, you come home, like, that's what you're watching. Like nothing is happening. Like it's very, very slow, and there's no real action. It's just a lot of introspection of Brad Pitt thinking about his dad, and just very, very slow. So with all that said, he hops on the Mars thing, and he goes out to see his dad. Now his dad wants to find alien life. That's the whole expedition. He's going out to Neptune. He's going to find some alien life, and like that's his whole thing. Now, while he's out there, his crew, they go out there 30 years ago, and they find no life. And basically, everyone else on the ship's like, all right, Captain, let's go back to Earth. We didn't find anything. And he's like, no, we're not. And basically, he kills everybody. Like, he locks them into a bay and takes all the oxygen out and kills like his entire crew. Because he's dedicated to finding alien life. So we go out. So he goes out to Mars, or he goes out to Neptune, finds his dad. His dad says, I haven't found anything. And he sets the nuclear bomb. He's trying to take his dad back to Earth, but his dad doesn't want to go. And his dad, of course, he pushes away and floats into space. And Brad Pitt comes back to Earth. The nuclear bomb goes off. He saves the planet. And that's the end of the movie. Nothing happens. There's no aliens. There's no twist. There's nothing.
So why would you fly to Neptune to look for aliens?
Because they looked around like Mars and they couldn't find anything. So they figured if they go out to the farthest reaches of the solar system, they could hunt down. And
so they spent 30 years flying across the vastness of space instead of waiting the extra 6 minutes for the radio signal to reach you.
Yeah, I don't.
That's really weird.
And I'm sorry, but I have to go there. I have to say, they looked for aliens past Uranus. Is that what it is?
Wow. Jeez. You're always looking for aliens.
It's my quest.
Yeah, it was just it's nothing. The problem, I mean, if he would have went out to Neptune and there would have been something out there, like I don't know what, it could have turned this movie around a little bit, I think. I mean, it's still very slow burn to get out there. But the fact that he goes out there and nothing happens and he just comes back. And plus, like he stows away on this ship, right? To Neptune. So these 3 astronauts are already on the ship, and the astronauts are supposed to subdue him. And what happens is the one guy shoots a gun, and basically the vacuum, like all the oxygen gets sucked out of the cabin, and the 3 astronauts die because Brad Pitt already had his suit on. Mm-hmm. So now he's a killer. He killed 3 astronauts essentially, and he just comes back to Earth, and it ends. Like, wait a second, he's going to be on the hook for. And no, at the end, no, but yeah, he comes back to Earth, and then the girlfriend that Liv Tyler, by the way, the girlfriend that he basically drove away because he couldn't make a commitment because he was so, because he has daddy issues and he could never relate to anybody. He works through all of that while he's going out, and he ends up seeing his dad die. So he becomes a couple with her back again. They get back together. Like the last scenes, he's in a restaurant, and she comes to eat dinner with him. Like, what? He killed 3 astronauts. So when he was on Mars, he gave the message, and they indicated that maybe the dad, Tommy Lee Jones, replied back, but they wouldn't let him know what he said. And they're like, all right, you're off this mission. You're going back to Earth. So that's when he stowed away on the thing. Like he broke he was going against orders.
He stole a ship and went to Neptune or something?
Yeah, he stole a ship, killed the astronauts, Went to Neptune. Now he completed the mission as.
So he's now a space pirate.
Yeah.
The movie's starting to get better, Tom.
And he comes back, and then he's like, at the end, he's like, I have my girlfriend back, and it ends.
Is this movie going to make this generation think it should be space pirates?
No, they're going to think we do not want to see Tom.
Because he killed people without any sort of.
Well,
right?
well, it's only if the movie's good, Paul.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah,
you can have the hero do bad things as long as the movie's terrible.
Yeah, and oh my lord, this movie is just it's how long is it? It's 2 hours and 9 minutes, and it's
a drama when you expected sci-fi, is what you're kind of basically saying, right?
It's just watching Brad Pitt. Like I say, it's a 2 hour therapy session of Brad Pitt's character coming to grips with his dad leaving, so that way he can go back to his girlfriend that he broke up with. And
yeah, it's been a bad year for Brad Pitt, huh?
What are you talking about? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was awesome.
Wonderful.
Are you kidding me? That was the greatest movie of all time. I love that movie. But this, I'm sorry. So I'm having a hard time rating this movie because I would say don't watch. But the space scenes where there's like the vacuum of sound it was really cool. And let me tell you something. The movie looked good. Like when they're on the moon traveling and you can see the Earth. I mean, the movie visually looked very well done. But it
doesn't even matter anymore. Everything looks good.
Yeah,
now.
I guess. But
honestly, everything looks good. I get in the high school AV department putting out something looks decent these days.
But for me to take notice that it looks good is saying that it looks really good. Because I watch stuff. I mean, I watch the Avengers. I mean, I watch all these outlandish stuff, and I never take notice to how good everything looks. But maybe because...
it's because you're awake and engaged in the story.
I tell you, if I watch this movie at home, there's no way I'd ever get through it. I'd fall asleep 100% of the time. It was very, very long, very slow, and nothing happens. That's the problem with the movie. Nothing happens. Like, it's so realistic that it's boring. Like, it's too realistic. Like, you'd expect this to actually happen. Like, this would be based on a true story. At least then it would be interesting because it's based on a true story.
He went in outer space for 30 years and didn't find shit.
Yeah, and he came back. Yeah. Yeah, it's
because the aliens have hardly come into contact with water by the time he went looking.
Oh yeah, see, Signs. Yeah, great movie. Go see Signs instead.
Oh fuck! Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Paul. I had to come back to that.
Terrible movie now.
I guess don't watch. I mean, I can't. Yeah, for the 10 minutes of coolness, maybe 15, it's not worth a 2 hour commitment.
Well, you know what, Tom? I'm on board this week. I'm not going to go see it.
You should. I'd be very interested to see what you think, though.
Shit.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to say, hey, you know what? You're right. Take your work computer with you.
Just sit in the front row and start my laptop up.
Yeah. Have a conference call. I don't think anyone will mind, honestly. They might find it more interesting than the movie.
Hey, could you turn up the volume on the laptop?
Yeah, I really wanted to like this movie because I'm a big fan of Brad Pitt. But boy, I don't know how. I just don't know how anybody read the script. Like he read the script and thought, "Yeah, I'm in." I don't know. He's
got Bruce Willis previewing his scripts for him.
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't see it. It's just not a good movie. But what are you gonna do? All right. Well, I think that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions about this movie?
Does Brad Pitt have his shirt off at any point during this film?
Does Brad Pitt? No. In fact, most of the time he's in a spacesuit. So sorry, Paul. Like there's really nothing to look at in this movie. Now I could be wrong. I'm trying to think if there's like scenes of him, like in Liv Tyler, like sex
he
scenes or anything.
He had to shower between spacesuit changes or something, right?
Yeah, I don't think they showed it though. They showed everything else. They showed him sitting there and pondering his dad. But they never showed him doing anything.
What's more dramatic than a shower? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
well,
I know.
If you're gonna ponder, I mean, so let's get some deep thoughts and shit.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't believe so. I could be wrong. There wasn't. I don't think he was ever shirtless. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because I'm quite certain he was shirtless.
You call yourself a Brad Pitt fan. You don't even know if he was topless in the movie.
I don't see his physical form, Joe. I only see his acting chops.
Well, you're doing it wrong. This is part of me too, Tom. We're supposed to ogle Brad Pitt.
It is amazing that someone who's getting older
keeps looking better.
Still pretty good.
Well, in this movie, they do some pretty good close-ups on this one where he looks old. So, Paul, if I were you, I wouldn't see this movie because he does look like he is aging in this movie.
Oh, okay.
But as a straight man, I can definitely say Brad Pitt is probably the handsomest man I've ever seen.
Ever been born.
Oh, yeah.
He's it.
The dude is just handsome. Yeah. I mean, Paul, he's got to be number one on your celebrity hit list, right?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. It's kind of predictable, though, isn't it? I mean, granted,
I'm not looking. We don't need a Shyamalan ending here.
Obviously.
You know.
Wow. Who would be higher?
For eating crackers or anything, but
who would you have? But you have a preference for the Mexican people, right? In general.
I don't know.
That's your
maybe
type.
Like Latin.
Okay, Latin.
Like Latin.
Okay.
Let's say.
That's not okay. So
Let's
maybe
not limit ourselves to one country. You
Oh,
know,
I know. What's his face from Menudo? Oh, he came out.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin.
He'd probably be over Brad Pitt for you.
I don't know. I'll have to think about it and get back to you.
Yeah, get back to me. I need your top 10 list.
Yeah. Figure out
celebrity bang list.
Which one is at the top? I don't know. I can't figure out.
Wow, that would be you.
I think Brad Pitt's like a top 3 in any list, right?
Yeah, he is very good looking. There is something about. I hate to be like Chris Evans for some reason. Really, I don't know. I know he's young, but yeah.
You know another one who aged well? His counterpart in the Ocean's movies. Shoot, what's his name?
George
Clooney.
Yeah.
I think he's a much better looking dude, older than he was in his younger days.
And he went to my junior high school too. Oh, sorry.
Really? Wow.
I'm not junior high school. He went to my elementary school, I should say. As we went to the same at different times, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. That's still something.
He's from Cincinnati, so anyway.
It's not as cool as banging a dude who was in.
Yeah.
In Cops, yeah.
No, Bad Boys.
What was it? Bad Boys. Bad Boys too.
Yeah, it's not cool as that, but that's not bad. All right. I think we drug this episode out as long as we possibly could. Longer than Brad Pitt in Ad Astra. So I think it's time to wrap this bad boy up. Look out for our next episode. Oh, so you can check this episode out if you haven't. I'm not sure how that works. But go to our YouTube, Movie Zealots Podcast. Search for that, and you'll see the channel. Subscribe. And, listen to these episodes on that as well. That'd be cool. Our next episode that we're going to be releasing, we will be reviewing Joker, which I've already seen. So we'll review that one and probably a couple other ones. And it'll be my first time probably using the Regal Unlimited. So that'll be exciting.
So we get a Regal review as well.
Hopefully. Let's see if anything comes out. Boy, this is bad times for watching movies because there ain't nothing coming out in these theaters that's worth watching. But
yeah, it's really tough. I mean, this is the bad part of having the movie membership.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the movie going, what the heck did I do signing up monthly?
I would like to see Addams Family, to be honest, but I don't know if we'll get around to it, to be honest,
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But until then, I'd like to thank everyone for coming on this episode. That would be Joe and Paul. And until next time, that's a wrap.